Hey guys, Tentacle Diff here. So game 16, I believe this is, it got kind of lost in the shuffle because when I tried to turn my streaming thing on, it doesn't work. It has this thing where if I've had it on for a few days, I don't know, sometimes when I try and restart it, it just doesn't work. So I had to restart my computer. Obviously couldn't do that right before the game started without dodging. So we just played the game and I figured I would go back and commentate it. So this will be kind of a new thing for the channel anyways. If you guys like this, we'll do more of it. But yeah, I'll just hop into the replay and see how things went here. So Seraphine Ashe, very toxic lane, even for us. Leah, interesting champion, Graves, then Tom Kench. So I think what we're gonna try and do is I'm gonna see if, hold on. So we're red, right? Okay. Just gonna do the red team's perspective here. I'm gonna actually put it on my perspective. Actually, I'm not gonna do that because it's just annoying, right? I'm just gonna try and follow us around. But we'll keep it on red perspective so you can see the game from our perspective. But yeah, so I like to stand out here at the start just to kind of we were actually talking here, so that's why I kind of got jumped on. It's bad by me. My duo goes the wrong way for some reason, and we actually get destroyed at level 1 basically, so not a great start to the lane right off the bat. It was kind of my fault because initially I was the one who was unprepared. I took the free damage. If none of those abilities hit, it's probably it's just a different demeanor they would have towards fighting us, right? But since they got some free damage, they feel like they can kind of move up and get more aggressive. So I know we're kind of behind here, and the main goal is to just, try and hit back for some damage without taking damage, obviously, right? So that's why you see I'm kind of playing pretty conservative. I'm not really running at them as much as I do other games. I'm just trying to hit them with long-range Qs, trying to equalize the situation a little bit. 40 right now, it's not really that bad. We've definitely kind of gained a little bit of ground back, but it's nothing insane, and we're still a little bit behind, I would say. Problem is my 80 carry, my duo's HP is low, right? So that's gonna be the limiting factor here. One of the things that people will say about this is because I know I'm probably going to get this in the comments, people always say oh, you have more HP, so you should block for him and absorb damage for him and stuff like that. And to a degree, it's fine to posture a bit more aggressively. The problem here is Seraphine Ashe is a very dangerous lane, right? So if I, posture more aggressively in this position where we're weak, the issue is that if I actually get caught out by something, let's say I actually eat an empowered W or E, I think it is, right, from Seraphine, and I get kind of locked down and then Ashe is chasing me off the back end, then I can actually die very quickly because my duo can't really help, okay? So it's not really as simple as oh, you have more HP than him, get back in front of him or something like that, right? Also, sometimes when you're trying to tank damage and stuff like that, it can be a bit unnatural, right? Because the whole point of the game is you're trying to avoid damage most of the time. So, you can kind of get caught in situations that you're trying to bait out damage a little bit, but you actually bite off more than you can chew. You get CC'd by something you don't expect, and then you just die instead, right? Or you just give up even more. You even give up even more pressure. At least now, even though he's low, I'm relatively healthy. Their Seraphine's really low, Ashe is low, so at least I'm some type of threat here, right? So it's a little bit of a fight. We got some free damage on there, right? So it's pretty good. It was good that I think my duo flashed there. It was probably good because if the double Sarah Q would have hit him, it probably would have killed him. A zero Sarah Q's hit him because he flashed, but Because you're probably looking at his health and like, oh, you need to flash. But if the double Zerg Q hits, he may have actually died there. Something to keep in mind on support. Whenever you're in a situation like this, you should always be looking to do your best to last it under tower. I'm a laner, so it comes kind of second nature to me. I will miss CS from time to time, but like CSing. I feel like I'm actually pretty elite at CSing. So you should always be trying to get CS that your partner would not be able to. Right now, that doesn't mean like if the lane's gonna push to you, and your partner's not there, you just walk up and you take the whole wave and send it back the other way and mess up the lane, right? But in a case like this where the creeps are already on the tower, like you want to be making the most of the situation and getting the most gold back that you can, right? Like he can't get this gold until he comes like obviously closer, so there's no reason to just let it go to waste, right? I see so many players, and this is especially true on mage supports. I see so many players where they're very like lackadaisical about letting farm just kind of like rot and stuff like that, and you shouldn't do that. I feel like in solo queue, it's even more important because your duo is less likely, or not your duo, but the other player you're playing with is less likely to get a bunch of the farm, right? There's some cases where I know exactly what my duo is going to do. I know he's going to be back in time and stuff like that. But you don't even know in some cases, like a duo goes back and they're in the fountain and they're just standing there. And you don't even know, like, okay, like, is this guy, like, he's just looking in the fountain, he's like browsing essentially, instead of actually just buying and quickly coming back to lane. And you might be like, okay, like I'm not gonna touch the wave in this certain way, but then he doesn't get back in time anyway, right? So you have to try and be dynamic about things. So now we're kind of like a reset. We're down like 6 CS overall, not even when you factor in me, which I think is a factor, like especially in this lane when you're playing a mage support, like your farm does kind of count, right? So realistically, we're down like 4 CS overall, and that's not even true necessarily because they have a bigger wave, so we're going to catch up on these, right? So we're basically down like nothing. We recovered relatively well, so just a little bit of a trade there. I didn't really expect my duo to man up like that, so we were a little bit not on the same page. I was kind of out here trying to find an angle onto Sarah or Ashe, and he got into a little bit of a fight, so I was a little bit out of position. Sometimes that'll happen. Again, just fishing. I'm trying to stay away from Ashe because of the volley, right? I don't want to just keep getting pelted with volley, so I'm playing to the side that I'm letting my duo stay behind the creeps, and I'm taking a more aggressive angle. Just found a window there, so always look for windows like that. I want to go back and just watch that, like, 1 second. Yeah, so he was kind of like auto-pathing a little bit, and I could tell, so I knew I could weave an E in there. Sometimes they just get very aggressive, very ballsy. So immediately we've kind of like reestablished control. Everything's going well. That empowered Q is something else, man. It's like really, really powerful. When I was playing with Seraphine in lane, I was realizing how insanely broken it was. It was like, even when they had like full health, basically, my cousin was chunking people with it. Again, I'm being a little bit more cautious than I normally would, because, again, Ashe is here, right? And she can just kind of volley me at will. So trying to play either behind creeps or max range, trying to just get cheeky and cute with my Qs. I'm really able to like run them down as much as I normally want. Quick little trade onto Ashe. Graves is here. I can see during this, so I'm telling my duo he's okay. He doesn't have to flash or anything like that. Or he doesn't have to barrier, sorry. Seraphine just being annoying. Being typical Seraphine. We also, like, we've noticed the score, and this is something that I like to do as well. We kind of play to the score a little bit. Not like, a ton, but we know that we're up. We kind of have control of this game. So there's not a reason to really, you know, kind of rush in and make very hyper-aggressive plays or anything like that, right? So we're content to kind of just chill and farm and all that. Actually pinged my R when I leveled, that's funny. Not necessarily a bad thing, I mean, like, especially if you're not playing in duo or something like that, you know? Because obviously we're just communicating everything through voice. So we dodge one of her Qs, and then trade back onto her. So in this case, she just walks forward. I expect her to pull back. Now, I could have angled my... We'll actually just watch that sequence back. I might as well, right? So, yeah, I think she's gonna walk up and then feint. I could have angled this so it still clips her and catches her if she goes back, but I kind of missed. Then Mel reflects back. I immediately see they're trying to go into my duo, so I just, you know, turn my thing on immediately. I get most of my damage off. I get the proc, and then Mel gets the execute. Right, so pretty routine kill there. That's just them not understanding like the power of Mel. Really, that interaction is really all Mel. If we don't have Mel there, if we're somebody else, they die. Now Ashe is alone. Again, she just thinks... She doesn't respect Mel as a champion, or Vel'Koz at that point, but really, like, Mel turned that entire thing around, being able to reflect the W. It's just such a insane ability. You're basically, like, using their ability against them. So their ability goes on cooldown. Your ability goes on cooldown, but you don't take any damage from their ability, and they get hit by it. And they get the effect by it if it's a crowd control or something like that. And then you still have your other ability, right? So we can actually just... increase the speed here. So Talia comes here. She comes in. I'm surprised that she's coming in, so I'm like, okay, whatever. But she gets the knock. That kind of sucks. And then Seraphine, of course, gets the double thing. I just get blown up here. But they use so much on me that they just get absolutely obliterated by our team. So that's the problem you kind of run into when you kind of dive really deep on some of these champions and you use a lot, especially on a champion like that's just the support. Now, they did prevent me from ulting there, right? I still died with my ult up, which, you know, I couldn't really do anything because I was CC'd the whole time. So that was kind of good, but ultimately it just wasn't worth it. They used a bunch of really powerful cooldowns there, and then just got really abused on the back end, so... I can actually probably just fast forward through some of the sections here that's... Okay. Just a little bit of free poke on Ashe. I see they have control over Dragon, so I'm just like, I'm going to zone them. And I figured I'd get some free damage as well. And now Ashe is really wounded for lane. People very much underestimate poke, especially in solo queue. My feelings on poke is that it's not super great in a macro sense in solo queue because nobody really wants to let you do your actual poke, right? So if you're fighting around a Baron or a Dragon, it's very rare that your team will give you the time of day to actually get meaningful poke down. However, in the lane, especially when you're in a coordinated duo situation, especially if it's like double Mage or something, the poke is huge because, you know, just getting that bit of damage from the bush play here, now Ashe is in like a vulnerable spot. Right? Like the threshold to kill her is so much lower than it would be if she's at full health. So that's going to change the way that she plays, in addition to changing her, you know, potential death threshold. We hit her again. That's why it's never a bad thing to go for Qs like that, especially because we have them push back. Me using my Q cooldown that's going to be up in like 6 seconds, like 5 to 6 seconds here, to take a shot, even if I miss, it's not really a big deal, because it's unlikely they can really punish us in that 6-second window. We get the dive coming in. I opt to just, I know Neferi is going to do a ton of damage. I opt to just R in to get some damage on them. Ideally, I probably should have walked up to get in tower range. I actually think I thought I was in tower range, because me tanking here is fine. And Neferi obviously has the invuln, so that's kind of fine too. But Neferi does take a little bit of extra damage there, and it could have just been better if I absorbed at least one shot first. That gives Neferi a bit more flexibility. The one thing is, if you're gonna ever absorb 2 shots there, you have to be, you really want to get out as the second shot is firing, right? You don't want to wait too long, because if you actually do get hit by the 3rd shot, it does a lot of damage or could kill you. Because the turret is charged up at that point, and you're obviously squishy, right? So we're just skipping ahead a little bit. Nothing much really happened here. We just thought we may have caught somebody out of position, so we ran up at them. Nefari catching this Ashe. Yeah, you just can't play like that as Ashe. Mel just absolutely destroys Graves. I don't think Neferi has a chance of killing here, but does more damage than I would have expected, honestly. Yeah, and then instead of like walking to the tower, like she just walks in a weird way. So Talia goes on us, narrowly avoids the knock. It was kind of my fault. I put it in a bad spot. I don't have any cooldowns right now. So Mel goes down. If I hit that knock, we probably don't die there, right? So he probably doesn't die. So, you know, hitting your skill shots is important on these champions. It seems like an obvious thing to say, but I feel like what happens is kind of like players that play, I think a big reason why players get stuck on these range champions especially is they are harder to play in a lot of cases because you have to hit the skill shots. But what'll happen is people just get, you know, they just kind of get a little bit mentally lazy, and they're like, oh, you know, like, I'm not expected to hit every shot, so it's okay if I miss the shot, I missed that shot, but, like, I really should have hit that shot there, you know? And, you know, it's not, you're not going to hit every shot, right? You can't. Especially your mind's got a bunch of things you're thinking about going on in the game, so you're just not going to hit every shot, but you really need to be trying to hit every shot, and every shot that you have a chance of making. And when you miss shots like that, it does have real consequences, as you see, right? So Just a little bit of cleanup there. They decided to go on Mel. Not really that much to say. I was kind of wondering what my duo was doing, but Jargo was in the area. I think, honestly, he didn't expect to die there either, so... So kind of slow down on this. Then he catches Sarah out and decides to stop her from going top. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. I think he probably was like, okay, like, I'm not going to get to the 2v2 in time, so I'm going to prevent help. Talia comes, blocks off the thing. I try and get a Q on Ashe, but it actually hits Talia instead. There just wasn't really much that was going to be done there. Ashe was kind of playing it properly. She was approaching coyly because she knew I was going to try and counter-engage on her, but Talia already had such an advantage. Neferi just comes, cleans up Ashe. Yeah, Talia already had such an advantage on my Mel because she, you know, got the jump on her. So Mel was basically not surviving there because, like, they're on both sides of the engagement, and I can't do anything to protect her from both angles. There, I just ult to protect Neferi. Oops. Kind of like laying down, covering fire. Tom Kench comes in. I missed like a really easy Q on Tom Kench. I missed a W. Jeez, I'm trolling. It's another thing too is like when you have a solo player like that, sometimes you can be a bit more relaxed and loose because it's like, oh, you know, like this guy's gonna die, but it's like actually if you don't hit your abilities, he's not gonna die. So. Just kind of bad play by me. Did Jarvan flash to get the scuttle there? I don't know if he can even get it, right? So this seems like an interesting thing if they're gonna fight it, but they're not. So I don't realize there that Neferi has the thing, so she obviously walls. And I'm just like, I have to flash that or I die there. Absolutely. Talia just does so much damage. Like, it's crazy. This Talia is 252. And she built... Okay, no pen boots, guys. She has a Giant's Belt and a Seraph's Embrace. And that's how much damage she does. It's just disgusting. Like... Meanwhile, my champion is, like, a damage champion. And basically does no damage unless you... like, play super well and proc your passive a billion times. So I see Tom Kench is up here. I'm like, for a moment, I'm like, you know, is this even a good play? But I'm like, we can maybe try it. We can probably take him out. So we take our time, make sure we hit stuff this time. He actually stops his thing, but then Graves comes. So unlucky there. Banshee's Veil, you saw why that's a great example of Banshee's Veil just coming in super clutch and blocking the Ashe Arrow. Didn't think Graves was going to be able to get there like that. Just kind of staying with my duo because it's looking like he wants to stick around, so I don't want to leave him hanging. Ashe goes down the middle. Hard to play Ashe against Neferi, honestly. Talia just doing tons of damage to my laners for no reason because champion's broken. $252, guys. No damage items. Okay. Not all that much happening here. Ashe just no flash, so... No flash, and Jarvan with ult is out of position, unfortunately. So I go top, because I'm like, okay, Tahm Kench's round 2, we know that we're not going to get interrupted this time. So I stop him immediately as he tries to engage, we do a little damage to him. Then Graves actually does come back, I get the double knock. Jax tries to go back in. This is where he kind of messes up, I think. He should have just not done that, but... Oh, I think this is actually a really bad play. I remember this. So for some reason here, yeah, I just like... I'm thinking Jax is here, but he's not. And so nobody is there to like stun the Tahm Kench on coming in. Then Jax teleports. He comes in late, and he gets 2v1. So this was, like, an egregious play by me. Just, like, lack of awareness of where my Jax went. I thought he was, like, coming around or something like that, but... that was just really bad. That's, like, a bad play that can lose you a game, honestly. This is a particularly bad one. Like, you can... when you're doing these kind of VOD reviews, you have to be careful, because you can split hairs on a lot of things sometimes. You know, and there's also things that you maybe do that aren't technically correct, but aren't really super impactful either, right? But there's also other things like that play, which was, like, egregiously bad, and you have to not do things like that or you will lose games. Is that, like, a shutdown, too? It may have been some sort of shutdown, because I don't have many deaths here right now. They're doing some poking there. Ashe is like... I should have just let some of the damage go through to get a bit more damage on Ashe, maybe, but... I was surprised the Ashe was like playing that close to the edge. And poor Ashe, man. Not really, screw that champion. Just like a loser, but... Neferi just doing Neferi things. Champion is insanely broken. Always want that champion on your team. Neferi's like, yeah, you dodge this if it's on their team. If it's on your team, you're like praising the Lord. Okay. Doing a little bit of damage to Graves. Pretty good damage considering that he's actually really fed. He doesn't have any like health though. Or MR. Do a little damn onto Talia there. So, one thing we were talking about is we weren't sure, like, who wins the 1v1 here. And then we're like, oh, So I come over here, and I know I have to be somewhat careful, but I know that if I space it, I'll be okay. Then Graves comes. I don't even want to give him the chance to... I think he was going to try and break my shield with his thing and then W me to slow me. And then if I flash after that, it's a lot more precarious, right? Because I think he has red as well. So he can just continue to slow me. Even if he doesn't, it's just sketchy. Yeah, he has red. Yeah, so use like be cognizant and be ready to flash early in cases like that. Like I just knew I was like, okay, this is a bad position. Overextended. Have to flash. Don't want to die here because I think Dragon is up, right? Or it's... No, it's not. But still. So we get a fight here where Jarvan kind of gets a little bit jumped on, but they don't realize we're like all here, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of obvious, but yeah, not really much they can do. Tahm Kench is so tanky though. Crazy. Really great champion you designed there, Riot. Totally doing a good job. Totally deserve have a job in the gaming industry.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
So Talia. Graves just powerful. Mel trades the kill. Then, yeah, just flash. It's always gonna clean that up, so. I kind of bait Tom Kenshin here. Because he doesn't see Jax. So he thinks he's just gonna kind of dive in on me. We get the kill here. So he stays there for a moment. Something you can do on Vel'Koz, like when he's starting that thing, you can actually E him immediately once he's starting it, and it cancels it immediately. So you don't have to knock him up on arrival. You can also just knock him up right from the start if you're in range. That wasn't a really good example of that there, but the W did kind of show that, because the W, like, killed him over here instead of letting him go over there. So the spells do still hit him. We're securing the soul here. The Fury is out in front looking for a pick. We have plenty of damage, so it's fine. Ashe again, just... you know. Not used to playing against the Fury, I guess. That's how it be. So we see this, and we see this as like a good opportunity to kind of like seal the game here. So yeah, just absolute destruction there. Just pushing some waves. They go on Baron. I'm trolling here, I guess. Yeah, I must have been asleep, or maybe I was just so confident they were getting the Baron, but I should have went there and just helped at least. You have to be careful about doing what I just did in solo queue too, because like, even if technically there's no threat of the Baron getting stolen because the other player's on the bottom of the map and, like, they can duo the Baron or whatever, just, like, psychologically, they might get annoyed by you doing what I did there. So oftentimes it's kind of better to just go and help, you know, unless it's, like, really bad for you to help. Trying to preserve my BV here so that I can eat something important like the Ashe Arrow or the Seraphine ult. People will say, like, you know, don't build BV against Ashe because, you know, it just gets eaten. It's so easy for them to break it. And I mean, that can be true, but you also have some autonomy there, right? Especially, like, once you leave lane, you really don't have to be, like, that close all the time. So we decided we're just going to jump on Tahm Kench. And then Graves comes to try and help him, but it's already too late. He fails his flash. They clean up the only member on their team that's kind of doing anything. Yeah, and then I'll come back over here. So yeah, fast forwarding is hard, I guess. Yeah, so we clean them up. I come back over here. I see her come through. I catch her clean. I dodge, you know, just walk around the thing. Just flash. And then she gets out because I missed the Q. I get a return on the Q, but now they're all here. Miss my W because I'm a noob, and yeah. We weren't playing, like, super well this game. But the thing is, like, even with me not having a great, like, offensive performance this game, you notice that there was, like, kind of, like, one mistake. Like, the mistake top, I think, is the biggest mistake I made this game. And, like, if you only make one of those a game, you might be okay. I mean, sometimes that can actually cost you the game. I don't know what Jax was thinking here, but he almost trades on Graves, but just unable to. But, yeah, like, sometimes it can cost you the game, sometimes you get away with it. We were pretty ahead in this game, so you get more leeway and liberty, obviously. But yeah, the main thing is avoid making major mistakes. Like, you can make tons of minor mistakes in a game, you know? But, making, like, a major mistake like that is not great. So, Thalia is like, she's gonna come in on us, but... Flip Ashe there. Actually, no, I don't. It was Mel. Yeah. Doesn't do any damage to Tahm Kench. It's so funny. Trying to keep the Banshee Veil alive. And then I don't even realize Graves here. This is actually a good, So, like, we're just kind of messing around mid, like, fighting. This is something where you can kind of get lulled to sleep, you know, because we have numbers on this side, so we're just like, oh yeah, we're fine, we're fighting. Not even really thinking about Graves. I think he's probably playing behind or something, and then he just comes over the wall and just annihilates me. Right, and we trade Ashe out here, I believe. Yeah, then he goes on Jarvan, and I think Mel should have went to help Jarvan, but that's okay. But the crazy part here is, so this could actually be really bad if they both die here. Like, I think if they both die here, they might actually be able to end. So Jax going in here is actually kind of insane. And this also just shows, like, how you shouldn't get complacent even when the game is, you know, kind of like, quote-unquote, in the bag. Like, we're a lot of gold up, right? But they just closed the gold gap by quite a bit. I made a really boneheaded play here and get caught and die. And I feel like me dying, like, not even to sound egotistical, but I feel like I actually do a lot in fights. So it's actually very bad when I die, because not only do I do damage, but I bait out a lot of abilities. I add a lot of pressure to them, like just my existence in the fight and where I'm going to ult from, where I'm going to Q from, poking them, stuff like that. That all adds pressure. But then also, like, them trying to chase me down and kill me adds a whole nother dynamic, right? And that's especially true on any sort of control mage or anything where you can kite on. So it's like, even if you're squishy, if you're able to kite and, you know, not die right away, even if you inevitably die later on in the fight, sometimes just buying enough time is huge, right? And, you know, you get a bunch of damage out, they aren't getting damage onto you until maybe, like, the very end where they catch up to you and kill you. But now they've already lost the fight because they've invested so much in you, and you know, you've done a bunch of damage to them in return. So you get a lot of value out of your death. In this case, we get like no value out of our death. We just died instantly. We got picked essentially, right? So really bad play there, and yeah, this is just not the best game for me. Kind of it's funny that this is the one that didn't get recorded. So this is the one where Vauderbing Mel makes a nice play onto Tahm Kench. That was pretty big in itself, because I feel like they can kind of get more. Thalia, I don't know, like, I have to, like, look, actually. Hold on, was the... Yeah, Thalia, like, hold on. So I die here, right? Yeah, I die. Thalia is in the fight. Where does Thalia go after the fight is what I want to see. So, should try and chase down Mel? Actually, just put it to all vision. Oh, she just bases. Yeah, I don't know. I actually think that was a bad decision. I think if Thalia... See, if Thalia's with them mid, they might kill the Jax, right? And then if they kill the Jax, then this game is in kind of jeopardy, because it's hard for Mel to defend, realistically. And, like... I'm up in, like, I mean, we probably don't actually lose here, but, like, it's definitely possible. Maybe they take a tower, and it's just scary. The thing is, too, is, like, you always want to be in a position where you're applying pressure to the enemy team. So one thing that, like, if I was this Talia, I would have went with the team, right? And then the thing is like, let's say that they kill Jax, okay? Maybe they kill him in mid because she's there. And then, let's say my Mel makes a mistake and they kill Mel. Now at that point, they probably can end the game, right? Because I'm coming up, but I'm only one person versus four. I'm a Vel'Koz, right? XD. Nefari's on a long timer. Jarvan's on a long timer. Jax would have been on an even longer timer, and Mel would have been on an even longer timer, right? So it's like you can play this out to where just you existing and you being there gives you a chance now to capitalize on bad play by the enemy. But she didn't do that. She decided to go bottom. And like the lane, like I get that you want to push the lane out, you want to get the farm, but it's like, it's not like it was gonna end the game. And we most likely weren't gonna like counter a TP or something. Because the thing is, they had the Jax busy. So Talia tries to split again. Mel hits her. Just take her out there really easy. This Talia is very just monkey brain Talia player. Like, it doesn't surprise me that she made the wrong macro decision there, because she doesn't make the right micro decisions during the fight either, right? Like, can't team fight, can't macro. That's why she's an emerald. Yeah, so I mean, after we won that fight, there was nothing they could really do, so yeah, kind of a sloppy game, but overall didn't make too many bad, like super bad mistakes, just kind of like two there. And luckily my team was good enough to be able to carry. My duo was playing well. The thing is like, if you make those really bad mistakes in a game where you're hard losing, sometimes it can be the difference between winning and losing, because if you're the only reason your team is afloat, and then you like grief like that, like you just die, you get picked without doing anything, then it's really bad. So let's look and see. End up doing a lot of damage this game at least. So I mean, I was getting active. I was doing my job, but I did like die more than I should have for sure in this game. I should probably have had like 2 deaths or 1 death or something. And we still could have done. We actually probably would have did more damage if I had less deaths, because like I was not even active in a couple of those fights. So just not great there, but it is what it is. So thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the content so far. See ya.